Donald Trump is having an awful morning, more catastrophic news with the latest inflation reports, and sadly, this reflects the suffering that Donald Trump is inflicting on the American people. The April CPI inflation report just came out. Inflation now officially rising to 3.8%. That's its highest level since May of 2023. Core CPI inflation rose to 2.8%. That's above the expectations of 2.7%. As the Kobayashi letter explains, we are now experiencing post-pandemic inflation levels and surging oil prices. You all knew that already, but now it's officially in the reports. And now the odds of a Federal Reserve interest rate hike are surging. As we look as well over the past 6 months, U.S. gas prices, they were rising by 65%. Let me just repeat that. Gas prices rising by 65%. But you knew that already because despite the fact the Trump regime continues to lie and say we're all in a golden age, when you go to fill up your gas, you know that the prices are unaffordable and out of control. In addition, for the first time in 3 years, U.S. inflation is outpacing U.S. wage growth. U.S. consumers are losing all of their purchasing power, but it gets worse from the latest report. And so while April CPI inflation rose to 3.8%, inflation is much higher in the basic necessities that we all use. And the Kobayashi letter did a good job documenting the things that you know. If it feels much worse even than 3.8% inflation year over year increase, it's because it is much worse. Energy commodity inflation, 29.2%. Gasoline inflation for April CPI, 28.4%. Airfare inflation, 20.7%. Talking, year over year for the April report. Energy inflation, 17.9%. Electricity inflation, 6.1%. Fruits and vegetable inflation, 6.1%. Hospital services, 5.5%. Motor vehicle repair, 5.1%. Apparel inflation, 4.2%. I mean, these are the things that we all need and use on a daily basis. This has driven cumulative inflation since 2020 to 29%, meaning goods that cost $100 in 2020 now cost $129 today. Inflation, not just a major issue, but the major issue. But there's more from the report. We must be very diligent. That's why I want to show you how the economists are talking about it, and I want to break it down in a way we can all understand. Economist Heather Long explains, inflation is now eating up all wage gains for the first time in about 3 years. Again, this is painful for Americans and a true financial squeeze. So CPI inflation in the past year, 3.8%. Wage gains in the past year, 3.6%. So any wage gain that took place year over year has now been fully eaten up by inflation at 3.8%. But I would argue that 3.8% number is very, very low because the things that really impact all of us, energy costs, gas costs, food prices, right, groceries, all of that inflation exceeds the wage gains by like 10, 15, 20%, which is why the pain feels even more than what these horrible numbers suggest. Heather Long also explains Americans are trying to work more hours to keep up as gas and food prices rise. Even so, real average weekly earnings decreased in April as inflation ate up all the wage gains and extra hours worked. Real weekly earnings for all workers is down 0.2% in April. Real weekly earnings for rank and file workers down 0.3% in April. There isn't a manufacturing boom. There is a jobs recession right now. This is a catastrophic economy caused by Donald Trump, and the markets don't like it one bit. The markets are tanking today. The price of oil is surging today. We are in a very, fragile, difficult, delicate moment in our history where whatever remains, and I know most people feel like we're in a recession or even a depression right now based on how they're being impacted, but this can get much worse at this current moment. And this is why real leadership is really needed right now. We need adults in the room. Again, I don't care if you're a Democrat, a Republican, an independent. I need smart people who know what they're doing, who take their job very seriously, who can go through the graphs and the charts, and who can, bring in the smartest people in the room and help get us out of this mess. That's what we need right now. We really, really need smart people. And what's Donald Trump posting this morning? Here's what he's been posting with all of this news. Bye-bye fast boats. And it's an AI image of a U.S. drone apparently shooting Iranian fast boats. And then he posted this morning. Lasers, bing, bing, gone. He's been posting that meme over and over again. He posted another AI meme that says Hakeem Low IQ Jeffries. This is a racist name that Donald Trump gives to black people. He always calls black people low IQ. And then he, in this weird AI image, he says him at home. And it's a AI photo of Hakeem Jeffries in a pile of money in front of a mansion. And then it says his district, and it's a pile of garbage. And again, just horrifically racist. And again, while Donald Trump has engaged in all of these quid pro quos that have enriched his family to the tune of billions of dollars, he just lies about Hakeem Jeffries. And he does it in a horrifically racist, mean-spirited, amateurish, just disgusting way. Again, with all of the problems going on this morning, with serious leadership needed, Donald Trump posting this AI image of Governor Pritzker of Illinois, making fun of Pritzker for being obese, even though, a lot of Americans are obese, and, it's a struggle for Americans. It's not something, who makes fun of obesity? Like petulant, mean second graders or fifth graders. And Donald Trump's obese. Donald Trump at this point is probably more obese than Pritzker. Right? And here, and by the way, Donald Trump doing that Walter Reed visit May 26th, where he also claims that he's going to have another dental checkup, even though he had a dental checkup on May 2nd and January 10th. And he had a prior annual physical / semi-annual physical October of 2025. But he posts this AI image of Pritzker eating burgers and pizza and nachos. And then he posts an image of himself on the $100 bill. He posts the photo of Obama Biden. It's an AI meme of Obama Biden, and there's apparently Iranian ships in the water, and now all of the Iranian ships are under the water, he says, even though Iran controls the Strait of Hormuz and America lost the war, and China feels emboldened, and the rest of the world feels emboldened, and America's never been weaker, and Europe's talking about building a European version of NATO because NATO isn't making its Article 5 guarantees matter anymore because of the United States. That's what's going on right now. By the way, Justin Wolfers, great economist, started Platypus Economics. Shout out Justin Wolfers, by the way, big Justin Wolfers fan, a friend of mine. He puts this chart. He's a smart guy. He goes, see if you can spot the effects of the Iran war. Energy prices have spiked dramatically since the Iran war began. And you can see right as the Iran war begins, energy prices going through the roof. He then shows another chart right here of the inflation report, and you can see inflation going up, up, up. You could also see that under former President Biden, right as years 3 and 4 of the Biden administration, inflation was going down, and it was going to hit that target of 2% year over year, which is what the Fed wanted, that 2% inflation, which is what it would have been great. Interest rates would have been cut. Things could have been great, could have really unleashed the innovation, ingenuity, spirit. We could have continued the manufacturing boom under former President Biden, but that's not happening under this horrific regime. I will remind you that 1 month before the 2024 election, when Donald Trump was campaigning, this was his promise. Just to remind you, he promised that gas prices, electricity prices would all go down 50%, okay? By the way, they were going down under Biden. The inflation was caused by Donald Trump's catastrophic first term. You have to fix those things. Biden fixed it. They were going down. Just look at the charts. Look at the data. We don't have to yell and shout and have these, this debate, that. No. Just read the graphs, read the charts. Okay, they don't lie. Here's what Trump said. Let's play it.
But we're going to get this done, and you're going to have within 1 year. Think of it. Within 1 year, you're going to have electric bills and energy bills, and your gasoline for your car is going to be 50% cheaper than it is right now. That's a big thing. That's a big thing.
All right, now today, what's Donald Trump doing with his regime to spin this positively? How do they just pretend it doesn't exist? They pretend that everything's going great. They bring out Doug Burgum, Trump's Interior Secretary, and Doug Burgum says, "We are the most energy affordable nation in the world. Thank you, Donald Trump, for the great economy." I kid you not. That's what Doug Burgum said this morning. Let's play it.
The fact that the U.S. right now is the most energy secure, most energy affordable nation in the world, and President Trump playing a geopolitical game, which includes, Venezuela stopping China from buying cheap Venezuelan Iranian oil, the work that he's doing, to build a coalition around the world, whether it's opening the strait or on critical minerals. Heading into the summit this week, President Trump's in the strongest position of any U.S. leader ever going into a discussion with China. And again, it's you take a look at the economic numbers of the United States happening right now that came out last week. The U.S. economy is strong. China's economy is faltering. It's just a great spot. And President Trump's leadership is putting us in a great place to come out on top.
Then MAGA rolls out Jim Jordan. And Jim Jordan says, thank goodness. Thank goodness for Donald Trump. Could you imagine how bad it would be right now under Kamala? No, under Kamala, she would have kept a lot of the stability and predictability, confidence in our alliances. She wouldn't have tariffed the world. She wouldn't have gone into this catastrophic war in Iran. These are all Trump decisions. And inflation would have hit its target at 2%. And you MAGAs still would have lost it. You still would have said, she's the worst. She's going to get us into World War III. Everybody's suffering. I bet you she would have got inflation. She would have just kept the trend going. And inflation would have been 2% year over year. But here's what Jim Jordan is saying. Play this clip.
Trump makes decisions that are in the best interest of our country. He's going to do things that benefit the United States of America, and that is his focus. And thank goodness we have him on the world stage. Thank goodness he's our president doing these negotiations. And frankly, not Kamala Harris, because Lord knows what she'd be up to if she was there. So I feel confident he's going to talk about all these issues and make progress for things that, again, benefit the citizens of our great country.
Senators.
In a little bit, I'll do a video on Pete Hegseth's testimony in the House of Representatives. But Hegseth's testifying right now before the House Appropriations Committee and the Subcommittee on Defense. And they're asking him basic questions. How can you give us the accounting from this catastrophic war? We know you're saying $25 billion. We want to see the accounting because lots of people are saying that the $25 billion number is just some replacement costs, but it's not giving the full scale and cost of this war, where lots of people believe it's already been hundreds of billions of dollars. And if you look at the incidental and consequential costs, it's clearly close to $1 trillion if you think about the bond market, if you think about the fact that interest rates aren't going to be cut, if you think about the gas prices increasing. So there's all of those costs that don't get counted, but $25 billion seems to be a low ball estimate. So are you going to show us the accounting? No, he says. Here, play this clip.
Mr. Secretary, when can you share more formal accounting on the cost of the war with Congress and with this committee?
We'll share what we can. I think we've updated on that number this morning, but when it's relevant and required, we will share it.
I think this would be the format that it would be required.
And then another person, another Pentagon official, then says, actually, we realize it's closer to $29 billion. Okay, so in the past 10 minutes, You went from 25 to 29. Yeah, y'all are just full of it. Y'all are just a bunch of liars. Here, play this clip.
On April 29th, as you indicated to the ranking member, you said that the Iran war had cost $25 billion in total. You reaffirmed that today. Do you have any other updated costs or projections since that testimony that you've given? Outside reporting estimates have indicated that the war costs could be $1 billion a day. Do you have anything to share?
Yeah, thanks for the question, sir. So at the time of testimony in front of the ask, it was $25 billion. But the Joint Staff team and the Comptroller team are constantly looking at that estimate. And so now we think it's closer to 29. That's because of updated repair and replacement of equipment costs, and also just general operational costs to keep people in theater.
Meanwhile, what's Iran saying about all of this? Well, one of Iran's spokespersons for their national security apparatus is now threatening that if the U.S. continues to threaten to invade Iran and continues its blockade and continues going down this path, one of Iran's options, Abraham Rezi explains, a top official in Iran relating to their national security apparatus in their parliament, one of Iran's options in the event of another attack could be 90% enrichment. We will review it in the parliament. 90% enrichment means nuclear-grade weapons, and then Iran's embassies and their social media accounts are posting, "We are prepared for all options." In response to Donald Trump's posts of Bing Bong Laser or whatever Donald Trump is posting, Iranian accounts are responding with the following: "We will be laughing well past your consignment to history's ash heap. You are merely a footnote," referring to Donald Trump. "You are merely a footnote in a story spanning a millennia. In fact, you are such an unworthy adversary, and we are constantly amused by your stupidity." While that's taking place, today, Norway's deputy foreign minister visited Tehran. This follows the fact that Norway and many other European countries are rapidly running out of jet fuel. There's not enough oil coming from the Middle East to refineries to maintain the current jet fuel consumption rates. 20% of all flights need to be canceled to halt the decline in jet fuel supplies, as this chart indicates right here, posted by Wall Street Mav. And Norway's deputy foreign minister meeting with Tehran, meeting in Iran about bilateral negotiations. Just think about it. These things would be unthinkable 60 days ago, 70 days ago. And I did a whole other video over the weekend where I showed all of these countries that are now involved in bilateral negotiations with Iran. Iran has never been stronger than they are right now. They've never been more embraced in a world order because they beat the United States in this war. That's the status of it. None of the objectives that Trump, to the extent there were any, that they set out were achieved, and Iran now controls the Strait of Hormuz. It's a very basic equation. One person gained something, the other didn't. And not just gain something, but gain something very, very valuable. Meanwhile, Qatar's former prime minister, a member of the Al Thani family, said the following as well to Al Jazeera: "The military action by the United States did not serve the region in general. America harmed its friends in the region. The military operation served Netanyahu personally. It served his agenda personally. He openly talks about a new map of the region, new alliance, greater Israel. They are ignorant of the structure of power in Iran. This pyramid has been built for over 47 years. Since the day the Shah left, it won't collapse the way they think." And then the Iranian embassies are posting this: a Make America Great Again hat where American troops enter, and the side of the hat says Make Israel Great Again where caskets exit. This is where we're at right now. This is where we're at. We're just going to keep reporting the truth all the time here on the MeidasTouch Network. Hit subscribe. Help us get to 7 million subscribers. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.